99% of people crumble under pressure. But here's the secret no one told you. Pressure was never meant to break you. It was meant to measure you. Every challenge in your life, every bill, rejection or failure is the universe checking your frequency. The lower your vibration, the heavier it feels. The higher your vibration, the lighter it becomes. Because pressure isn't punishment, it's calibration. The moment you stop resisting it, it turns into momentum. The same force that once crushed you becomes the one that lifts you. The weight of energy pressure, you feel it in your chest before you can even name it. That tightening, that invisible weight. It's in your shoulders when you wake up too early, in your stomach when the bills arrive, in your mind when you think of the future and it doesn't feel safe. Everyone talks about raising your vibration, but few understand what that really means. It's not about being happy all the time. It's about how much pressure your frequency can hold without collapsing back into fear. When you live in a low vibration, guilt, anger, shame, anxiety, you are vibrating in density. Your energy field becomes thick, heavy, and reactive. Every challenge, every bit of friction feels like a mountain pressing down on your chest. But when you raise your frequency through awareness, gratitude, or conscious presence, your field expands. Your energy becomes lighter, faster, more coherent. The same world still presses against you, but now it doesn't crush you. You start to feel something incredible. Pressure doesn't weigh the same in higher vibration. Science calls this resonance. Spirituality calls it faith. But they both describe the same phenomenon, the alignment between your inner frequency and the external field. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every thought, every cell, every emotion, it's all frequency. And when your vibration matches the vibration of a situation, you either move through it effortlessly or you resist it, and it becomes pain. So pain isn't always punishment, it's feedback. It's the universe telling you your frequency is out of tune with what you're trying to live. You see, pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is the mirror. It shows you the limit of your vibration. Think about it. When you go to the gym, you lift weights to build muscle. Each rep creates resistance, and the muscle tears so it can rebuild stronger. Life works the same way, but spiritually. Pressure isn't sent to destroy you. It's there to show you how much weight your energy can lift. And if you lift it consciously, with faith, not fear, you expand your capacity, you increase your frequency. Every challenge is resistance training for the soul. When people say, "I can't take this anymore," what they're really saying is, "My vibration can't handle this level of density yet." And that's okay, because that moment, that breaking point, is not the end of your growth. It's the beginning of recalibration. See, energy doesn't disappear, it transforms. When pressure hits you, you have two choices: contract or expand. If you contract, you sink back into low vibration, fear, blame, resentment. But if you expand, if you breathe, if you surrender, you don't just survive the pressure, you transmute it. You start to notice the things that once triggered you no longer have the same power, the same people, the same problems. They still exist, but you move differently through them. That's frequency mastery. That's evolution in motion. There's a reason most people collapse under pressure. They mistake resistance for rejection. When life tightens, they think they're being punished. But pressure isn't the universe saying no. It's the universe asking, "Are you ready to hold what you've been asking for?" Because every manifestation, every dream, comes with a frequency requirement. You can't attract abundance with the vibration of lack. You can't hold peace with the vibration of control. You can't receive love with the vibration of fear. So before the universe gives you what you want, it gives you pressure to see if your energy can handle it. Think of pressure as the test of coherence. When you say, "I want more money," life doesn't immediately give you cash. It gives you situations that test your faith in scarcity. When you say, "I want a relationship that feels safe," life doesn't drop someone in your lap. It first mirrors your own insecurities, so you can heal the parts of you that push safety away. Pressure isn't cruelty, it's divine preparation. Every vibration you emit sends a signal into the field. If that signal is chaotic, full of fear or doubt, the universe delays manifestation, not to deny you, but to protect you from collapsing under what you're not yet ready to hold. That delay is mercy disguised as frustration. Let's go deeper. In quantum physics, there's something called the collapse of the wave function. It means that energy exists as infinite potential until it's observed with intention. Your focus collapses possibility into reality. But here's the catch. Your focus is only as strong as your frequency. If your vibration is unstable, full of fear or resistance, your observation collapses the wave into chaos. That's why people say, "I'm trying to manifest, but nothing works." Because they're focusing with words of faith, but a body of fear. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your energy. So when you raise your vibration through gratitude, breath, faith, and action, you stabilize the signal. And when your signal stabilizes, pressure becomes power. The same force that once overwhelmed you now propels you forward. Let me show you how this works inside the body. When you face pressure, emotional, financial, or spiritual, your brain activates survival circuits. The amygdala fires, cortisol rises, your field contracts, your perception narrows. You start seeing problems, not patterns. But when you consciously regulate your breath, when you slow down instead of reacting, you send a new message to your nervous system. I am safe in this moment. That safety expands your field again. It opens your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for higher reasoning and intuition. Suddenly, you see options that weren't visible before, not because they appeared, but because your frequency finally matched them. This is why raising your vibration is not an idea. It's biology. Your body is the antenna of your consciousness. Every thought changes its electromagnetic field, and pressure simply reveals whether that antenna is tuned to fear or to faith. Imagine your life like a glass of water. If your vibration is low, the molecules are dense, slow, uncoordinated. Add more energy, more light, more gratitude, and those molecules start to move faster, aligning into order. The same pressure that cracked the cold glass now becomes the heat that turns it into vapor. You transcend density by changing frequency. That's why when people awaken, they often describe a feeling of weight being lifted, but nothing external has changed. Their frequency simply rose high enough to carry the same pressure with ease. That's mastery. That's lightness through awareness. The problem is, most of us never learned how to do that. We were taught to fight pressure, to escape it, to medicate it. We call it stress management, but it's actually energy mismanagement. Because pressure is energy in disguise. And when you resist it, you block the transformation. But when you face it with presence, you unlock its power. Every spiritual master, Buddha, Jesus, Rumi, spoke of this paradox in their own way. Surrender is not weakness. It's the highest frequency of strength. To surrender doesn't mean to give up. It means to stop fighting the current and start flowing with it consciously. Pressure loses power when you stop resisting it. Let's make it practical. When life presses you, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this pressure revealing about my vibration?" If you feel fear, it's revealing attachment. If you feel anger, it's revealing control. If you feel shame, it's revealing judgment. And each time you choose to observe instead of react, your frequency rises a little higher. You build resilience. You expand your energetic bandwidth. That's how you grow from low vibration to high. Not by escaping pressure, but by learning to hold it without breaking. Because here's the truth, pressure never leaves, you just rise above its reach. Like deep-sea divers who adapt to oceanic pressure over time, you too can adapt to the weight of your own evolution. At first, the depth feels crushing, but as your body, your frequency adjusts, what once felt unbearable becomes the new normal. That's expansion. That's how the universe teaches you to breathe underwater, to exist where others collapse. You don't escape pressure, you integrate it. You let it become your training ground. The universe will never send you a weight you can't handle, only a weight you haven't learned to handle yet. Every time you raise your vibration, you move closer to coherence with the field. The pressure doesn't go away, but it changes form. What was once pain becomes purpose. What was once resistance becomes rhythm. What was once heaviness becomes fuel. Because in truth, pressure and growth are the same energy, just vibrating at different frequencies. So the question isn't, how do I get rid of pressure? The question is, how do I expand my energy until pressure feels like peace? The answer isn't outside you, it's in your frequency. It's in your willingness to breathe deeper when the world tightens, to feel gratitude while under weight, to remember that pressure is proof you're evolving beyond your old limits. You don't have to run from it, you just have to rise through it. Because once you learn how to vibrate higher, you realize something incredible. The same force that tried to crush you was always the universe helping you ascend. Reprogramming the vessel pressure doesn't disappear when you wake up, it transforms when you do. The weight remains the same, but the body that carries it, the mind, the heart, the frequency, is no longer the same vessel. That's the key. You don't escape density, you upgrade your capacity. You don't resist pressure, you reprogram how your system receives it. This is not abstract, it's physics, it's biology, and it's spirituality working as one. One, the mind, shifting the narrative frequency. Every vibration begins as a thought, and every thought is a choice, fear or faith, contraction or expansion, resistance or surrender. But here's the problem. Most people's thoughts are not theirs anymore. They're loops of the past, voices of worry, inherited beliefs, emotional echoes replaying as truth. When those loops go unchecked, they generate electrical patterns in the brain that harden into reality. The mind becomes a transmitter of low frequency, broadcasting doubt into the field 24/7. So the first step is not positive thinking, it's pattern interruption, because you can't reprogram energy with the same language that created it. You must break the signal. Here's how you do it. Every time pressure hits, a bill, a conflict, an uncertainty, pause. Don't react. Breathe. That single pause is the moment you reclaim your frequency. In that silence, your brain resets its wave pattern from high beta, survival, to alpha, flow, and eventually theta, creation. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. Spirituality calls it presence. Both are the same. You're teaching your mind to stop vibrating at the frequency of panic. When you do this enough times, the brain stops associating pressure with danger. Instead, it starts linking pressure with opportunity. You literally rewire the association. What once triggered cortisol now triggers clarity. You begin to think differently, not because you forced yourself to, but because you taught your mind that safety doesn't come from control. It comes from coherence. You see, your mind isn't your enemy. It's a student. It's constantly learning what emotion to associate with each experience. If every challenge ends in despair, the mind learns to fear uncertainty. But if every challenge ends in gratitude, the mind starts associating pressure with power. So every time you survive another wave, say quietly to yourself, "I can hold this." Because that phrase, simple as it sounds, tells your brain that the weight doesn't define you. It calibrates you. You're not the victim of frequency. You're its conductor. And once your mind learns that, Pressure stops being personal. It becomes neutral energy waiting for your instruction. That's mental mastery, turning reaction into resonance. 2. The emotion, translating energy into motion. Now we go deeper, to the language of emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. It's the bridge between thought and body. It's how the unseen becomes physical. When pressure hits, emotion is the first thing that vibrates. If you suppress it, it stagnates. If you express it unconsciously, it explodes. But if you observe it, it transforms. That's the secret. Emotion is not meant to be controlled. It's meant to be transmuted. You do that by allowing it to move through you without labeling it as good or bad. Close your eyes. Imagine a wave of energy rising from your stomach to your chest. It's heavy, tight, maybe hot. That's pressure. Don't fight it. Breathe into it. Each breath is a reminder to your body that it's safe to feel. Emotion is the current that recharges your field. Every time you suppress it, you block voltage. But every time you let it flow, you generate light. That's why tears can feel like lightning. That's why forgiveness feels like weightlessness. Because the moment emotion completes its cycle, your frequency ascends. You become lighter, not because the situation changed, but because the charge was released. Let's go deeper. In the electromagnetic field of the heart, coherence occurs when emotion and thought vibrate in sync. Gratitude, compassion, and love generate harmonic waves, smooth, balanced, stable. Fear, anger, and guilt generate chaotic patterns, sharp, fragmented, unstable. When your emotional wave becomes coherent, it reorganizes every atom of your reality. The external begins to match the internal. Opportunities appear not as miracles, but as natural resonance. So when life presses you, feel it, but feel it consciously. Say to the pressure, I see you. You're not here to crush me. You're here to charge me. Then breathe. Feel the heart expand slightly, as if the universe itself is inhaling through you. That's the bridge between emotion and frequency. That's how density turns into momentum. You don't need to escape pain. You need to give it a higher assignment. Instead of, I'm overwhelmed, say, I'm expanding my capacity. Instead of, I'm afraid, say, I'm feeling life intensely. You're not lying. You're reframing energy. You're teaching emotion to evolve. That's emotional alchemy, turning pressure into power through language, breath, and awareness. It's how you move from density to lightness without leaving your human experience behind. 3. The body. Converting pressure into power. Now that your mind is calm and your emotions are flowing, you can work with the instrument itself, your body. The body is the amplifier of your vibration. It holds memory not just in the brain, but in the muscles, fascia, and nervous system. Every time you face pressure and contract, shoulders tight, jaw clenched, your body encodes that as a signal. We are under attack. And every time you release, stretch, breathe, you send a new signal. We are safe. So when you feel pressure in your life, move. Don't escape. Move energy through the vessel. Dance. Walk slowly. Shake your hands. Stretch your spine. Breathe like you're expanding the universe from inside your ribs, because when the body moves consciously, energy moves with it. And what once felt like pressure starts to feel like momentum. Breath is the key. The breath is the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. Every inhale draws life force in. Every exhale releases density. When you're anxious, your breathing becomes shallow. You literally trap energy inside the chest. But when you breathe deeply, rhythmically, you reprogram your nervous system. You tell it, this pressure is not danger, it's evolution. And the body responds, releasing endorphins, lowering cortisol, activating the parasympathetic system, expanding your electromagnetic field. You become a living conduit of calm power. In high vibration, your body doesn't resist pressure. It conducts it, like a lightning rod, transforming chaos into electricity. That's why saints, athletes, and masters look calm under stress. Their bodies have become fluent in light. They don't block the current, they channel it. When you raise your vibration through your body, you're not escaping human limits. You're aligning them. You're teaching your biology to match your divinity, because your body is not separate from consciousness. It's consciousness made visible. So take care of it, not as vanity, but as stewardship. Feed it with light foods, stillness, movement, gratitude. Everything you do to your body becomes a message to the field. If your vessel is clear, the universe flows through you like a current. But if your vessel is clogged with fear, guilt, or neglect, the current slows down. You don't lose energy, you just stop transmitting it efficiently. So your job is simple: keep the channel clean. That's frequency hygiene, that's spiritual physiology. 4. The integration, becoming the pressure. Here's the final step: integration. When mind, emotion, and body align, you no longer feel pressure the same way. You become the force behind it. The energy that once felt external now rises from within. You stop seeing yourself as the one being tested and start seeing yourself as the test itself, the consciousness that measures its own coherence. That's why the masters smile in chaos. Not because they enjoy pain, but because they recognize the energy inside it. They see pressure as the proof of potential. To integrate means to stop separating the sacred from the stressful. It means to look at every difficulty and ask, how is this shaping my frequency right now? And then to move, breathe, and think as if the lesson is already integrated. Because the universe doesn't reward what you know. It mirrors what you embody. The formula is simple. 1. Observe the pressure without panic. 2. Breathe until the emotion stabilizes. 3. Move until the body releases the signal. 4. Shift the story in the mind from fear to evolution. 5. Anchor gratitude even if nothing changed. Repeat this enough times and you'll notice the field around you recalibrate. Life will still challenge you, but it will no longer hurt the same way. Because your vibration can now carry the weight that once crushed you. 5. The alchemy. Pressure as creative fire. Every universe needs pressure to create stars. Without gravity compressing hydrogen, there is no light. You are the same. Every time life compresses you, it's not punishment. It's preparation for ignition. The heat, the friction, the tension, it's all the same energy that births galaxies. So the next time pressure comes, don't ask for it to stop. Ask for the strength to stay present until it turns into fire. Because when it does, you'll feel something extraordinary. The same energy that once paralyzed you is now the energy that creates worlds through you. That's not metaphor. That's physics and faith holding hands. This is what it means to vibrate higher. To become the kind of being that pressure can't crush, because you've learned to turn it into fuel. When your mind holds stillness, your emotions flow freely, and your body breathes light. You enter coherence. And in coherence, pressure stops being weight. It becomes propulsion. The wave that once pinned you down now lifts you higher. Because frequency is not about escaping the human experience, it's about expanding inside it. That's the secret every mystic eventually learns. The universe never stops testing you. It simply upgrades the version of you it tests. Walking between worlds. Once you start vibrating higher, something paradoxical happens. You feel lighter inside, but the world around you feels heavier than ever. It's as if you've awakened in the same movie, but can no longer act like the same character. You still walk among the same people, hear the same news, see the same problems, but you experience them from a different altitude. You start to live in two frequencies at once, the old and the new, the dense and the divine, and your soul becomes the bridge between them. This is what mystics called walking between worlds. It's the most sacred stage of transformation because here, enlightenment isn't a place you visit. It's a vibration you sustain while surrounded by noise. Anyone can feel peace on a mountain, but to remain peaceful in traffic, to hold light in the middle of chaos, that's mastery. This is where your training truly begins. At first, it feels like you're being pulled in two directions. The old energy whispers, "Go back. Be who you were. It's safer there." And the new energy calls, "Keep expanding. Don't forget what you've seen." You can feel both voices inside your body, the mind craving comfort, the soul craving evolution. And that tension is not failure. It's frequency friction. It's the residue of the old self dissolving as the new self stabilizes. That's why the period after awakening often feels lonely. You're no longer fully part of the old world, but not yet anchored in the new one. You're in between frequencies, and that space, that silence, is where the integration happens. Imagine this. You've spent your entire life breathing dense air, and suddenly you're learning to breathe light. At first it burns your lungs. You cough, you stumble, you think something's wrong. But it's not sickness, it's adaptation. Every time you choose presence over panic, you oxygenate your field. You teach your cells that high vibration is safe. That peace is not a luxury. It's your new baseline. 1. The old world, the gravity of the past. The old world will test you, not because it hates you, but because it doesn't understand your silence yet. People will question your calm. They'll mistake your detachment for coldness. They'll project their chaos onto your peace because your stillness exposes what they're still fighting. And this is where many fall back, not from lack of knowledge, but from guilt. They feel guilty for growing, guilty for outgrowing, guilty for being happy while others still suffer. But you must remember, your peace doesn't abandon anyone. It liberates everyone who's ready. You don't owe your old vibration your loyalty. You owe the world your example of coherence. So don't dim your light to stay relatable. Shine so others remember they can rise too. You see, the old world runs on reaction. It feeds on speed, noise, and distraction. It worships busyness as virtue and silence as laziness. But the new world, your world now, runs on alignment. It values rhythm over rush, intention over impulse, energy over effort. That's why the transition feels disorienting. You're detoxing from chaos, and detox rarely feels peaceful at first. Your nervous system is relearning that pressure doesn't mean danger anymore, that silence isn't emptiness, it's communication. 2. The new world. The frequency of flow. In the new world, you no longer chase outcomes. You calibrate vibration. You understand that what you radiate is far more powerful than what you do. Action is still sacred, but now it's inspired, not desperate. You don't move from fear of missing out. You move from trust that everything aligned is already yours. This is flow, not laziness, not luck, but resonance. In flow, the pressure doesn't vanish, it redistributes, it becomes momentum. You start feeling like the universe breathes with you. Synchronicities appear, people, numbers, messages, all mirroring your state of coherence. That's not magic, that's mechanics. You're not attracting new things. You're finally perceiving the ones that were always waiting for your vibration to match. In this frequency, even challenges feel different. You don't see them as attacks, but as invitations. Every delay whispers, align deeper. Every disappointment says, stay centered. And you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what frequency is this teaching me to hold? That's when you realize life isn't happening to you or for you. It's happening through you. You are the transmitter, and the field responds to your tone. When you tune yourself daily through breath, gratitude, stillness, you stay in broadcast mode. Your energy becomes the message. 3. The bridge, sustaining the light. Now, How do you live this in the real world, with deadlines, traffic, people shouting, with bills, children and phones buzzing? You walk as the bridge. Every morning before the noise starts, anchor your frequency. Sit in silence, even 2 minutes. Breathe and feel your heart expand. Visualize yourself as a tuning fork of light. Whisper to yourself, "Today I'll move slower, but with purpose." You're not rejecting the world. You're teaching it your rhythm. When you walk through crowds, feel your energy field extend around you like a calm ocean. When someone projects anger, imagine their vibration dissolving in your stillness instead of entering your system. That's what it means to walk between worlds, not to escape density, but to remain transparent to it, so nothing sticks. Every day will test this mastery. Some days you'll forget. You'll fall back into hurry, stress, or reaction. But even those moments are sacred, because now you're aware. Awareness turns relapse into recalibration. You'll pause, breathe, and return faster each time. That's progress in the unseen. That's spiritual stamina. And here's the truth. You'll never fully leave the old world behind. You'll just become so internally stable that it can't pull you down anymore. You'll still hear the noise, but it will sound distant, like an echo. You'll still feel the collective anxiety, but it won't penetrate your field. You'll still see pressure everywhere, but it will look like potential, not punishment. That's when you realize you're no longer in the old world. You're simply walking through it as light. And that's how you serve, not by preaching, but by embodying. Not by convincing, but by radiating. The awakened don't escape the world, they anchor heaven into it. 4. The symbolism, 2 suns in one sky. Picture it like this. You are standing between 2 suns. One behind you, the past self, warm but fading. One ahead, radiant, new, almost blinding. You walk between them, not rejecting the shadow of the first, nor rushing toward the glare of the second, because wisdom lives in the middle, in the quiet glow between the worlds. That's where power stabilizes. That's where you stop oscillating and start emanating. Your journey isn't to choose one sun over the other. It's to realize they're both you. The old vibration taught you how to survive. The new vibration teaches you how to create. One was gravity, the other is flight, and both are sacred, so don't rush the transition. Don't demand perfection from your new self. Even stars flicker when they're forming. Even light has phases. You're allowed to wobble between peace and chaos as your system stabilizes in this new altitude. Each time you choose awareness instead of autopilot, you reinforce the bridge. Each time you forgive yourself faster, you widen it. Each time you act from love instead of fear, you illuminate it. Soon you'll notice the bridge is no longer something you walk on. It's something you are. You are the middle path. You are the meeting point between heaven and earth. That's the destiny of every awakened being, not to escape the human, but to make it divine. You'll know you're truly walking between worlds when your silence speaks louder than your words, and your presence heals rooms you never even touch. You won't need to prove your light. It will simply exist, steady, quiet, unstoppable, because that's what a high frequency truly is. Not noise, but coherence. The world won't change in a day, but when you hold your vibration, you become the day, and the world slowly learns to rise with you. The return to unity. There comes a moment, after the resistance, after the pressure, after all the breaking and rebuilding, when silence returns. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of arrival. It feels strange at first, because for so long you've been climbing, fighting, seeking, and suddenly there's nothing left to fight. No more battle to win, no more mountain to conquer, only stillness, only breath, only being. This is the beginning of the end of separation, the death of the illusion that you were ever disconnected. You look around, and the same world that once felt heavy now glows with a quiet intelligence. You see how every event, even the painful ones, wasn't random. It was choreography. The universe had been sculpting your soul through pressure, through contrast, through the art of friction. Every heartbreak, every debt, every failure wasn't punishment. It was precision. Each moment of collapse was an invitation to remember that you were never the one being crushed. You were the one awakening through the experience. And now you understand, the universe never worked against you. It was always working through you. Every time you thought you were falling apart, you were actually falling inward, back into alignment, back into source. Because the truth is, you were never lost. You were just looking for yourself in frequencies too small to hold you anymore. And now you've grown beyond them. You've become vast. When you reach this point, faith stops being a word. It becomes a state of matter, a vibration so constant that even when the world shakes, you remain still inside. You don't believe in God anymore. You feel God as yourself. Not as ego, but as awareness flowing through every cell, every sound, every heartbeat. You start to realize the universe isn't something outside to trust. It's the consciousness you are. And that's the moment the frequency locks in. You're no longer manifesting from lack. You're creating from unity. The ego, that little voice of not enough, fades like an echo in a larger sound. It's not destroyed, it's integrated. You don't fight it anymore. You hold it like a child finally understood. You whisper to it, "You're safe now, you can rest." Because the ego was never evil. It was the part of you that forgot how infinite you were. It clung to scarcity to feel control. It feared surrender because it mistook it for death. But when you finally let go, you discover surrender isn't dying. It's dissolving into truth. It's realizing that life never needed your control, only your cooperation. In this state, everything slows down. Your heartbeat feels like music. Your breath feels like prayer. Your eyes see beauty in the smallest motion, the shimmer of dust, the ripple of air, the warmth of another soul passing by. You don't rush to change reality anymore. You watch it unfold as if you've already written it, because in a way you have. You realize the creator you've been praying to has always been the consciousness behind your eyes. You were both the prayer and the answer, the seeker and the found, the wave and the ocean remembering its name, the field of oneness. When you vibrate in unity, you stop oscillating between good and bad, light and dark, success and failure. You see polarity not as conflict, but as conversation. Pressure and peace become one movement, the inhale and exhale of existence. You stop judging your past because you see it as perfect instruction. You stop fearing your future because you see it as inevitable expansion. You live here, in the eternal present, and this present moment, this silence, is the gateway to everything. Because presence is not emptiness, it's full awareness vibrating as love. Love not as emotion, but as frequency, the unified field that sustains all creation. In this love, there is no lack, no striving, no distance between you and what you desire, because desire itself becomes devotion, a movement of the divine longing to know itself through you. That's why true manifestation isn't about getting, it's about remembering the vibration of being one with what you seek. When you remember it deeply enough, the universe doesn't need to deliver it, because you already are it. The lover, the success, the peace, the abundance, they all emerge naturally when you vibrate at the frequency of wholeness. You've become the tuning fork through which heaven plays its song on earth, and the melody is effortless. Because the effort was always in forgetting who you were, now remembering is easy. It's the most natural thing in existence, the dissolution of pressure. Remember that pressure? The weight that once felt unbearable? Now it's just touch. A gentle reminder from the universe to stay in coherence. Pressure hasn't disappeared. It's transformed into rhythm. The same force that once pushed you down now keeps you grounded. The same tension that once hurt you now powers your creation. You realize the paradox. You were never fighting pressure. You were learning to hold light, and now you can. You've become the frequency that doesn't break because it bends with grace. That's the secret of every enlightened soul. They don't escape gravity. They harmonize with it. In this state, you don't chase enlightenment anymore. You live it. You cook it, walk it, breathe it. Every word becomes vibration. Every movement becomes meditation. Every interaction becomes transmission. You look at others, and instead of judging their sleep, you recognize your own reflection, still learning to awaken. Compassion replaces superiority. Presence replaces preaching. You understand that everyone's pressure is perfectly measured for their awakening. No one's journey is ahead or behind. It's all unfolding at divine timing. And maybe now you finally forgive life. You forgive yourself for all the years you thought you were behind, for all the tears you labeled as failure, for every night you begged for answers that were already within you, because now you see the universe was never testing your worth. It was reminding you of your weight in light. You don't earn peace. You remember it. You don't chase faith. You return to it. You don't manifest abundance. You reveal it by vibrating as love. And when you live like that, even silence feels sacred. Even pain becomes poetry. Even endings feel like homecomings. So this is it, the end that isn't an end at all. The return to unity, the moment when pressure and peace become the same pulse, when you finally see that everything that ever happened was not to break you, but to open you wide enough for God to flow through. And now you don't just believe in miracles, you breathe them, because every inhale is creation and every exhale is surrender. And between them, in that sacred still point, you find eternity, the continuation of light. If this message reached you, it wasn't random. You were meant to hear it, right now, in this version of yourself, on this day, in this exact vibration, because truth doesn't find us when we're ready. It finds us when we're open. And if something inside you expanded, if you felt your breath slow down, if even for a moment you remembered who you really are, then this wasn't just a video, it was a mirror. Let this be your sign that the universe is speaking through everything, even through pixels and sound. And if it spoke to you here, then you've already begun the work. Keep walking with this awareness. Carry it into your next conversation, your next thought, your next breath, because the moment you share light, you multiply it. If you felt this truth, don't let it stay here. Share it, not as content but as consciousness. Let it ripple outward through every person who's still searching for the calm you just felt. You never know who might wake up just because you did. And if you want to keep remembering, if you wish to walk this path deeper, stay close. This space was created for souls like you, the ones who feel the pressure but are learning to turn it into light. Subscribe, not as a habit, but as a declaration. I choose to live awake, because that click, that gesture, that breath is energy. And energy never ends. Until we meet again, keep vibrating higher, keep walking between worlds. And remember, you were never waiting for a miracle. You were the miracle learning to remember itself. Stay in the frequency.